What's up, folks? Jacob Rob AJ here. Today I'm here to shoot an album review. This album is entitled Because the Internet, and this is by Childish Gambino. Coming off camp, I didn't know how this album was going to compare. I'm going to go through all the tracks and tell you my thoughts on it. This featured 19 tracks, so I'm going to jump right into it. Track number 1 is entitled The Library. This track, it was about 5 seconds long. I felt like it shouldn't even been put on the album. He should have just left that part off the album and just had track number 2 be the first track. It was a waste of a track for me. Track number 2 is entitled Crawl. Definitely starts out explosive. The way the production was done on this, I felt like it was one of the strongest tracks on the album. Definitely in your face when listening to it. Here in the beginning, I knew it was going to be one of my favorite tracks from this album. Makes a play at the 104 mark from R. Kelly's song Fill In On Your Booty. And the way he does his vocals during that part, definitely, like that part within the song. The 203 mark, you'll hear him say the famous, "Ain't nobody got time for that." He makes like a lot of wordplay, a lot of famous sayings that have been posted all over the internet, and current stories on the internet and people. Mainly the whole concept of the album, I guess. Well, at least what I got from it. Track number 3 is entitled Worldstar. The 217 mark, I like how jazzy the track gets during that part, and kind of how it ends. Definitely thought this was another great track from this album. Track number 4 is entitled Dial Up. This is pretty much the interlude that leads into track number 5. Track number 5 is entitled The Worst Guys. This features Chance the Rapper. I thought the chorus is real catchy, and I definitely thought this was a song that would get a lot of club play. 32nd mark, he makes a play off the Sister Sister show and uses a reference to that. I like how Childish Gambino always, relates back to older shows or topics, and how he pulls things and includes them within his music. From the 48-second mark to the 101 mark, I thought the flow was good during that part. So I loved how his vocals were during that part. Then the 239 mark, it gets real jazzy during that part as well, which I thought was real good. Track number 6 was entitled Shadows. This is one of my initial favorites. Definitely love the chorus and love the lyrics within it. Love me better, kiss me back, listen more. And definitely this whole chorus, it stood out to me, and I thought it was real catchy, and I like the harmony that's done within the track as well. The feel I got from this track, I don't know what it was, but it kind of had like this Michael Jackson type of feel to me, like the song I could see Michael Jackson doing. But overall, a great track, one of my favorites from this album. Track 7 was entitled Telegraph Ave. I love the lyrics within this. Definitely love the chorus within it. The beat was good. I like the part where they're pretty much like all the red lights and all the stop signs. I thought that part was real good. From the 158 mark to the 226 mark, I thought he spit so hard during that part. At the 231 mark, I like the vocal note that he hit during that part. Track number 8 was entitled Sweatpants. This was actually a track that initially reminded me of one of his older tracks from camp. Reminded me of the intro for Kids Keep Up, and the flow in the track reminded me of You See Me. So to me, it's kind of like a good mix between both of those two tracks. The 211 mark of this track, he really reminded me a lot of Lupe Fiasco during that part. Track number 9 is entitled 3005. This was the first song that I heard from Because the Internet. And when I first listened to it, I was like, you know what, this album is not going to be better than Camp. There ain't no way, just hearing that track. But at first I couldn't get into it, when I first listened to it. But once I got this album and actually listened to it, I was like, you know what, it kind of grew on me a bit. And it wasn't one of my top favorite songs from it, but I thought overall it was still a good song. I thought the chorus was good in the track, and then you'll see him in the track, and he's pretty much talking about people being thirsty. Track 10 is entitled Playing Around Before the Party Starts. This was mainly another interlude within the track. It had a nice piano in it, but it was too short. Track 11 is entitled The Party. I didn't think too much of this track. Track number 12 is entitled No Exit. This reminded me of a Kanye track from My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. With this second half of the album, it definitely reminded me a lot of Kanye. I hate to say that, you know, artists are alike, but every time I find myself listening to a Childish Gambino album, you know, it kind of relates back to Kanye West. Styles can get a little bit similar, you know, when listening to their production. Track number 13 is entitled Death by Numbers. This also reminded me of a Kanye West type of production. I like the production that was done on this. Track 14 is entitled Flight of the Navigator. Reminded me of a Kendrick Lamar track that he did. I love the echo beat at the 136 mark of the track. I thought his harmonizing within the song was real good. I like how he says, "Hold me close, my darling." Track number 15, I love the beat within the track. 207 mark, the production, again, it reminded me a lot of Kanye when listening to it. You'll see a lot of transitions within the song. There's about 3 different transition points within the song that really stand out. At the 313 mark, when it kind of goes into that interlude a little bit, it reminded me a lot of the Blame Game song with Kanye West. Track number 16 was entitled Earn. I didn't think too much of this track. Track 17 is entitled Pink Toes. I like the chorus and definitely like the harmonizing within the song, and I thought it was a great collaboration between the two as well. Track number 18 is entitled Earth, the Oldest Computer. Track featured Azealia Banks. I love the beat within the intro of the track. Track number 19 is entitled Life, the Biggest Troll. The way he comes in at the 24-second mark of the track. And, I definitely thought this track was a great way to end the album as well. Overall, there were 19 tracks on this album. Definitely a great album by Childish Gambino. I didn't think it was going to be as good as Camp because the way Camp was structured and how all the tracks flowed together. It felt like a double album. And tracks 1 through 11, I think it's more easier to vibe out from those tracks when listening to them, but you know, the second half of the album is definitely a little bit more complicated. But overall, the production's great. I know he does all his production by himself. He did the same with Camp as well. And that's one reason why I do like Childish Gambino. I mean, he knows what he's doing, you know, when he gets on the mic and when he's producing as well. So, I mean, that's kind of how I relate him to Kanye West, because Kanye West can do the same thing. Not only can he spit, but he can also produce a lot of the stuff himself and make it sound great. But overall, I like the cover art that was done on this. The CD was pretty cool as well. If you have this album, share your thoughts. What is your top favorite track? What is your least favorite track? How would you compare this album to Camp? Do you think it's better than Camp? Or do you think Camp is better than this album? If you know any other songs that you want to recommend by Childish Gambino, feel free to drop those below as well. But until next time, this has been Jacob Rob AJ, and I'll see ya.